to UMS Connect, a new conversation series with artists on the UMS season. I'm Cayenne Harris, Vice President of Education and Community Engagement for UMS. We're building on our mission to connect artists and audiences in uncommon experiences by sharing casual conversations with artists and creators. You can watch UMS Connect on demand before or after the live performance. On February 12th, 2022, UMS will present Layl, or Night, a work by choreographer and theater maker Ali Chahrour. This genre-defying dance theater work was inspired by the dense archive of love and romance in classical Arabic poetry, and from contemporary stories of lovers and their cruel separations. This performance is one of a series of UMS presentations that feature art and artists from the Arab world. In this episode, UMS Programming Manager Mary Roeder speaks with Ali Chahrour, who joins her from his home in Lebanon, about his path to becoming a creator, his philosophy and approach, and about Night, which is part one of a trilogy.
Hi, I'm Mary Roeder. I am the UMS Programming Manager, and I am here with Ali Chahrour today. Ali, tell us where you are.
I'm in my apartment in Beirut, in Badaro Street.
And you're just coming off of a pretty big tour. Where have you been over the last few months?
Yeah, actually, I was in a tour. We started in Paris, then Brussels, then Marseille, then Lisbon.
Okay. I think, we just assume that like touring has stopped during the pandemic, but it seems like y'all have been everywhere. So it's exciting.
Yeah, now we are touring again. Like we started the tour, so it's very complicated to travel, but the tour went very well.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, I think we're gonna start off with an easy question here. So, can you tell us about who you are and your path to becoming an artist?
I'm Ali Chahrour. I'm a dancer and choreographer. I live and I work in Beirut. I'm graduated from the Lebanese University, the theater department, because there is no dance department in Lebanon in general. Then I decided to do dance, so I did so many schools and workshops in Europe. Then I decided to come back to Beirut and create my work in Lebanon.
So you say there's not a formal dance program or dance training in Lebanon. How did you decide that movement was something you were interested in?
I discovered this. I didn't decide. When I was studying theater in the Lebanese University, we have two classes of body expression or dance in the first year, and I discovered that this is the way that I want to express myself, and this is the way I want to say things. And I was 19 years old, so I started to just look for dance workshops in Lebanon, or I started to work with a Lebanese choreographer, and I started to travel with him. So I had the chance to do several dance schools in Europe. And I felt the need of coming back to Lebanon and create my work in Lebanon and do my dance performances in Beirut.
Why come back to Beirut as opposed to just staying in Paris or somewhere else in Europe?
Because it's home, and I feel I'm home when I'm in Beirut, and even my work and the research of my work is based on local references, local quality of movement in contemporary dance in Lebanon and the Arab area, and I'm interested in this research. I'm interested in how the people move around me. So I decided I want to be in the context where my research is and where my work is created, and also to face the audience with dance that's based in their own memories, their own stories, their own references, so they can relate to this type of dance, which is kind of new in Lebanon.
What is it like to make work in Beirut? I remember when I first met you in London a few years ago, you talked a little bit about just this censorship that happens with the written word. And yeah, I mean, if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's been always very difficult to create art or theater or dance in Lebanon. Now it's quite impossible with the economic crisis and the extremely corrupted politicians and the port explosion of Beirut. Like so many crises happened at the same time in the past 2 years that made it impossible to create in Lebanon because the theater started to close. Most of the rehearsal rooms and spaces are destroyed or they are not able to continue. But at the same time, there is now the need more than any time before to do dance in Lebanon. Because if we will stop doing dance or theater, or if the audience will stop together in the theaters, which is the only space where they can share an intimate or same moment with live performance, I think the city will lose what remains from its soul. And with the censorship, I don't believe in censorship. I never apply to censorship, and I will never apply to censorship. But we have a system here that you have to send the written text to the censorship, and they decide if you're allowed to perform or not. If it's related to religion or sex or political matters, they might stop the performance. But as I'm doing dance, I don't have to apply to the censorship. But even if I have to, because there is a lot of text and songs and a lot of stories in my performances, but I won't allow anyone, censorship or anyone else, to censor my work and my beliefs and decide what should I present to the audience.
Would you say that kind of identifying as a choreographer and a dance artist is at all strategic to avoid some of the censorship that happens in Lebanon?
Well, doing dance in Lebanon, you have to always find ways for adaptations. Some rehearsals got cancelled immediately. You have to find your way even to reach sometime the rehearsal room, like especially production-wise. So, and this becomes part of the creation, and I kind of like it. Like this, you should be ready and flexible also for adaptation. It's part of the creation. It's part of the scenes that I create, part of my relation with my team. But now it's different. I used to say this like a few months before, but now basically we lost the tools of creating. We cannot rehearse if we are not able to reach the rehearsal room, or if we don't have a rehearsal room, or if the theater is closed, or if there is no electricity. So things are changing, and we are still trying to understand what's going on. So I still can't give an answer, because when I created my latest two creations, like 4 or 5 months ago, the situation was much, much better than now. Much better means very bad situation, but now we are still collapsing. So we are still looking for our ways of adaptation to keep creating in Beirut.
I really appreciate you talking through some of just the logistical challenges of making work there. I think in the US, Americans have access to, just the basic headline, there's an economic crisis, there's an explosion, but what does that all mean for people really living there and making work there? All right, well, let's change directions here. We're going to talk about Night, specifically the performance that you'll be bringing to Ann Arbor in February. So the performance is called Layl, which is Arabic for night, and it's the first piece in a trilogy about love. And I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about that trilogy and how Night or Layl kind of kicks off that trilogy.
Yeah, Night is the first chapter of a trilogy about love. It's based on stories of lovers who got killed or separated because of their passion and their love. Stories from the Arab history or contemporary stories. And it's the first chapter before it was after the Death trilogy, the Death Rituals in the Arab World trilogy, and the link between those two trilogy is this huge heritage in the Arab history that we have about poems, dance, presence of the body, the complexity of the relation between body, religion, society, politics. So Night is about this situation where you can understand the intimate stories through the intimate stories of lovers, the whole context. You don't have to read politics to understand what's going on. It's just through this personal stories of lovers and the way that the relation ends, you can get the context of a country, for example.
Would you say, so we want to talk a little bit about what audiences are going to experience when they see the show. Would you say that the piece, what people see during the performance is literal, or would you say it's more abstract?
I can't say it's literal or abstract because the audience can get a story if they want to get a story from the performance. But for me as a choreographer, it's based and built on situations and feeling of situations. So it's series of situations of the falling of lovers. And this series of situation, you can link it together to get a story. But at the same time, you can just live each scene as a different story. So it's the dramaturgy of this performance is based on feelings that you get from the music, the dance, and the text, and the performance.
So that leads perfectly into the next question. There are so many individual components in the performance that for me, each piece really helps evoke that feeling of sort of lost passion or separation, these things that you've described. So what will people see on stage? Can you break down the various components, the movement, the set, the music?
Yeah, the performance is based on music and dance. So it's mixed of the music, dance, movement, and light. I don't want to give a lot of information, but there is a transformation in the performance of the space and the bodies and the presence. You feel the fragility of the performers on stage and the moment of their fall, because one of the rules or the basis of this performance that was that you can fall in love and you can fall from love. So you see this collapse of the body at the same time, the collapse of the stage, the set of the stage, the instruments and the tools of the performers, where they started to lose their tools slowly during the show. So I use all possible materials to just create the performance. There is a lot of music, but at the same time, there is a lot of movement, a lot of text. Because in Night specifically, it was based on poems and stories of lovers and the heritage of songs about love and separation in the Arab history and the impact of this on the body. So that's why it was a mix of music and text and movement.
Ali, do you think about an audience when you're making a work?
Actually, in the process of the creation, I don't think about the audience. But what's important for me is to face the creation with the local audience. I don't feel that the performance is finished and ready before facing it with the Lebanese audience and hearing the reactions, seeing how they what they think about the work. But I don't think about the international audience. I don't think in the process of the European or American audience. And I think the audience that they will attend my performance, they have some work to do also. If they are really interested in getting the reference of the work, they have to do some research. because it's based on the language, also the local music, the local stories. They will miss part of it, but also they will get another part. They have the distance from the references, so they see other layers other than the emotional layer of the performance. And personally, I don't think that dance is an international language. I think what's international is the topics and the concepts that gather us as a human. You can relate with the separation of lovers who got killed for religious reason. If you are American, Lebanese, European, whatever. So regardless the reference, I think the audience will relate to the feelings of the performance. And even if one person in the audience will get this feeling, I will be more than happy, and I feel I succeeded to do what I wanted to do.
Can you tell us about the other artists that are on stage with you?
At night, I'm collaborating with Hala Omran. Hala, she's a Syrian actress and singer. This is night was the second time we worked together, and we worked together again on the creation after Taught by My Mother. And I am Itwalle, she's a performer and singer and musician. And Simona Abdallah, she's a percussionist. And myself, I'm dancing in the performance. And Sharif Sahnawi, he's a musician also.
I wonder if
and they are from different nationalities, because Hala, she's Syrian, Sharif, he's Lebanese, Aya, she's Egyptian, Simona, she's Danish, Palestinian, and me, I'm Lebanese.
How do you feel when your work is sort of explicitly positioned as work by an Arab artist or a contemporary Arab artist?
Also, it's a very good question. Thank you, because I don't really care. I don't really care how the people categorize my work. Art is art, coming from the US, coming from Lebanon, coming from wherever in the world. So I don't think, even I don't give the time to think, okay, they are inviting me because I'm Lebanese, because this is my work. If they are doing this, it's their problem. And if the audience think that they are coming to see the performance that's coming from Lebanon because it's coming from Lebanon, I don't think they should attend. They should attend because it's dance performance that have the research and aesthetic and artistic approach, and they need to discover. I don't have the same, if an American performance coming to Lebanon, to Beirut, I won't go because it's an American performance. I go because I want to discover, I want to sit in the theater and enter the world of an artist. And that's all. I don't like this identity things.
All right, last question. Who are your artistic heroes?
Well, I don't have artistic heroes. I have artists that I admire and love their work, like Pina Bausch. I love, for example, I admire the work and the power that Zukak Theater Company they have in Lebanon. There is a company called Zukak. Because they are still working in Lebanon. They never stop doing performances. They are opening a new space. And so many other names. I don't have specific names, and I don't like the idea of icons in general, because I like this work, and I look at some moment I feel, I don't relate to this work anymore. So that's why I don't like to say names. So that's it.
Well, great. Thank you. It's been great to talk to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in town in a couple of months, and we'll show you all the sites. It's going to be very cold.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Mentally prepare your bodies for that. February in Michigan is really, I use the phrase Arctic hellscape pretty consistently. It's bleak, but
Yeah, we are getting ready to it. I'm very much looking forward for the performance. I'm very stressed about the trip itself because it's a
yeah,
very long trip with the mask and all the COVID restriction. But I'm very excited to share the performance with you again and with the audience in Michigan.
great. Well, we'll see you in a couple of months.
Yes.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Please join us for the performance on February 12th. From all of us at UMS, thank you for watching UMS Connect.